Hey everybody, this is Kodak here, and Spin Master has just announced that the second set of the Bakugan card game, Bakugan Resurgence, is gonna be coming out May 15th of this year. Except in California where it's already out, because of course it is. Anyway, what has happened is somebody found 2 boxes of Bakugan Resurgence at their local Walmart, bought both of them, and filmed them getting unboxed. So we've gotten a really good look at probably most of the cards inside of Resurgence, so let's take a look at what we have. Now, one thing I'm noticing a lot in this set is there seems to be the real kid glove set, because so many of these cards involve allowing you to re-roll your Bakugan once per turn, so in case you miss, you get a second chance to roll. I mean, a lot of people have been missing their rolls this night, but that kind of this is something I kind of wish we'd seen in the first set, is the like Titan Mantanoid here, the ability to re-roll a Bakugan if you miss. That's going to be those are going to be really useful cards for people who are lacking in skill. We have Bakugan that have re-roll effects. We also have some ability cards that give you re-roll effects. I don't know if we have any heroes that offer a re-roll yet. That might be a little bit overpowered, but we'll have to see. Another thing I'm seeing is we finally get common Evo cards. A lot of them are these ones that offer re-rolls and stuff, but in the previous set, all of the Evos were rare or higher in rarity. Rare is this game's equivalent of uncommons, and that actually caused a bit of a problem because it crowded out a lot of the rare cards like Nature's Power that people want. Like, I have like a bunch of the a bunch of extras of like the rare evolutions, but I have not pulled a single copy of Nature's Power. I have a full playset of Leah Venegas Hex, a Bakugan Elite card in the parallel foil format, and I have not pulled a single copy of Nature's Power. So hopefully the fact that a lot of the Evos have been switched over to commons will make that a lot easier to do. It also means that it will be easier to build a Pauper deck. I've actually been teasing the idea of building a Pauper deck, but if there's a ton of common Evos now, a true Pauper deck can really be made. We just need some common heroes or something. I'm not seeing anything lighter than a rare. Like, we have Shargo Ronin here, who showed up forgettably in that one-off episode where he used an anime-exclusive Bakugan, the bane of my freaking existence. He's a one-cost hero who, when you open a Bakugan, it gets +1. And since you can now re-roll once per turn, you can gamble and try to get that bonus a second time. We also have Titan Nilius Ultra. This is something that kind of bothers me because, Titan Nilius Ultra, that's actually something different. Domination, if your Bakugan are holding the most Baku cord, this costs energy less to play. Oh, how much energy? Oh dear. It seems that Chaos Nilius just can't escape from having a typo. Like, I know there was a typo for Titan Nilius in the first set as well, the regular Titan Nilius. And then we have Dankuso. One thing I thought they were going to do, I thought they were actually going to give different versions of characters different names, and apparently it's not restricted by name like it is in like Pokemon or Naruto, so you can run 3 of the basic Dankuso and 3 of this Dankuso. This Dankuso, it's only a super rare, and your Bakugan get double strike. That is really powerful. Like, the last hero card that gave that effect cost 11. A lot of like the cards that have like 2 effects on them, I notice are kind of getting broken in half and included in this set. This will make it easier for people to find Dankuso, although Titan Dragonoid itself already has double strike, so this is pretty much only to benefit things that aren't Titan Dragonoid, pretty much. Like I said, I'm still surprised that they gave... I thought, from what I heard, they were going to be given... The different characters were going to be given different names. Like, we could have Dankuso and then Dankuso, Resolute or something. Like, still counts as Dankuso, but has that signifier to distinguish. If we get a card like Prohibition or or Pithing Needle or something like that, something that can lock a card down from getting played, that's going to be... That's going to be interesting. It means you can lock down a lot of people's decks, especially since there is a non-unique rule for heroes. It means you can have now 6 Dankusos in play instead of just 3. I really hope that they switch over to like giving them subtitles, because what this is going to do is it's going to make it really hard to find these cards online. Like I said, Magic the Gathering, they always give like a new version of a character. They give it a new name. They give it a signifier of some kind. Pokemon, the only reason Pokemon recycles the names is because you're only allowed to have 4 copies of a card with the same name in the deck. That apparently isn't the case with Bakugan. It's going to make things horrendously confusing. Moving on, we have a flip card. I don't have the name of it because it's not a very good screen grab, but it's a 0-cost card that lets you drop a cost 3 or less hero into play for free. So that's that's stuff like Strata. That's or even Philomena Dusk. I believe if her Dominate effect is active, then her then she costs 3, so you can drop her into play. I'm not terribly thrilled with the fact that it's limited to 3 cost heroes, even though that does get in a lot of important ones. It falls just sort of getting in Dan and Winton and those, but it's nice that it's at least like an actual trigger effect. It's actually free. I mean, I'm pretty sure Resurgence was made before a lot of the feedback happened, but more free flips like this will probably be beneficial. Up next, we have Maximus Maxitor Ultra, which is that's an awesome rare. It's a cost. When you play it, you may play a hero for free, but at cost 7, that immediately knocks it out from being useful. Any card with a cost of more than 6, or with a cost of 6 or more, pretty much, unless it has a way to lower that cost, is pretty much unplayable with how fast these games can go. So seeing it at cost of 7 for only a 13-10 isn't that impressive. There is a lot of new support in here for the hero archetype, but the thing is, the hero archetype is terrible because it has no center. It has nothing that allows you to like effectively move heroes into play. There are things that lower the costs of heroes. There's one card that lets you pull a hero from the deck, but it costs 10. Like I said, what we needed was a card that allowed you to pull heroes from the deck. We have Blinding Light, plus 200 B power for each hero you have in play. That's not very good because it's hard to get heroes into play right now. Moving on, we have Hyper Serpentis Ultra. When this opens, you may recharge up to 2 energy cards. So, I'm not sure how the rules stand. You have to pick your Bakugan before you roll, but I guess you can play some cards before you roll as well. So Hyper Serpentis Ultra allows you to recharge up to 2 cards, and with a 2 cost, that means that if it opens, you can get that effect right away. And in fact, there's, I believe it's Titan Serpentis Ultra, has the effect that it recharges all of your cards, although it's a cost 6 card, but that, if you can get this on turn 2, and you can get it to activate on turn 2, then you can, like, play another card that's cost 2, like Turn to Energy or something like that, activate Turbo, get a lot of really good stuff going. And then we have Hyper Halcor Ultra. It's a Bakugan Elite, but this thing is scary. Fury just turned scary. It's a 5 cost, 1505, but it has the effect Fury if you have no cards in your hand, plus 20 damage. So if you play this with Song of Fire, that is a turn 3, 1525. And if you combine that with Dankuso, this sets Dankuso's effective Double Strike, that's an OHKO from Fury. Fury has proven to be really easy to activate. The Pyrus Hyper Serpentis Ultra that becomes a 1512 with Fury has already been a tremendous threat in the metagame. This thing is downright frightening. I mean, its base form is incredibly weak, but nobody wants to eat an attack from this thing. That is going to be a scary thing to deal with. Up next, we have Huge Knowledge. Cost 10, energize each card in your discard pile uncharged. At cost 10, you're at the point where you don't really need any more energy, so I don't see what the benefit of this card could be unless you play it with, like, Dankuso or something like that. That would allow you to get that into play. Up next, we have Hurricane Winds. It is a basic plus 300 B power. You can play an action card that costs 4 or less for free. So this is sort of Aquos' version of Inferno Wings in that it's meant to tie into an activated ability. So it allows you to play things like Wave Slash for free, which then immediately gets its flow benefit because of Hurricane Winds. You essentially get 7 energy to work with on your turn, depending on what action cards you want to play. Now, this is action cards, so it doesn't include like hero cards or Evo cards or anything like that. So its application is limited, but we're going to have to see how it combos with cards like Wave Slash and stuff like that. We do have some new flip cards. We have Confused. Stop a Bakugan holding a Fire Fist or Magic Shield for 1 cost. This might see some use here and there. It would not surprise me if this saw some use, because a lot of the aggro decks, especially the Aquos Darkus Aurelus aggro deck, use Fire Fist in their strategy. So it would not surprise me if Confuse had a benefit, especially if you yourself run lots of Fire Fist and Magic Shield, so that it's likely that your opponent will land on your cores, especially if you like slap the Magic Shield minus 500 on them, but you somehow lose anyway. This could see some use because it specifically targets the powerful cores that people are going to want to use. Up next, we have Titan Pegatrix Ultra. Victor, reveal the top card of your deck. This gets plus damage equal to twice the revealed card's cost. For a cost 4, that can be pretty dangerous. Like, if you combine that, if you, like, deliberately throw in some expensive cards purely to set this thing off, that's, like, 16 damage. Combine that with Dankuso, and that's an OHKO. So, this has some interesting potential to use in, maybe in a Spinach Factor deck if you're banking on the ability to play the high cards for free with cards like Dankuso or this one, Air Zone. Air Zone is basically a one-shot version of Dankuso's effect. You reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's not a flip card, you play it for free. That's Dankuso's effect, but as a one-shot. That can still be really good if combined with Disguise Him. Like, you use Disguise Him to move Diamond Maxitor to the top of your deck, and, you know, turn 3, boom, there it is, Diamond Maxitor, 1515 that your opponent has to deal with and will have a whole lot of trouble. I've actually kind of entertained the idea of a deck called Spinach Factor that used Dan, but this can use it as well to get, like, really crazy powerful creatures into play really fast. We have Thunderbolt, which is the darkest version of Fireball. It's exactly the same, only it's darkest. I've kind of discovered that each attribute has a role. Darkus and Pyrus are about boosting damage. They get stronger damage boosting cards. And then Aquos and Chaos get the B-Power boost, and then Ventus is debuffs. Unfortunately, because of stuff like Shadow Strike, debuffs kind of stink, except for, like, Nature's Power, because you can play that on the first turn. But Darkus, I imagine a lot of this set is going to be sort of filling out, like they kind of staggered it in the first set, like, Pyrus got the 1 cost, Darkus got the 2 costs, Pyrus got the 3 costs, that gives the highest damage boost. I imagine they're going to fill out the sides with this right here, although honestly, at this point, Darkus doesn't need any help. Then we have Hyper Serpentis Regular for 1 cost. If it has 2 or more Bakugan cores attached to it, plus 10 damage, which it's a 604 normally, which but it becomes a 614 if it gets a second core on it. And there, you can do that with Consort, and you can also do that with another card in this set, which I think is going to easily replace Consort in my Awesome Ones deck. Up next, we have Shun Kazami, who is basically a 3-cost version of Strata. It's not a sure thing, though, because it's when you open a Bakugan, you may draw a card, although this gets additional benefit from, again, the Bakugan that allow you to reroll once per turn, because if you open it twice, you draw 2 cards instead. So there's a lot of reroll and a lot of synergy with reroll in this set. I guess that's what they mean by Resurgence, because, you know, the Bakugan comes back. But again, it's gonna be confusing to be recycling names like this. That's just weird. Then we have Lost at Sea. Flip a coin if heads stop the attack. Oh no, we're adding flip coin effects to this game, are we? Not sure how to feel about that, because, you know, it's a coin flip, so that automatically means it's not good, so people are probably not going to use it. Moving on, Titan Dragonoid Ultra. This is the Aurelus version. 1210 for 4, which is, you know, pretty good, pretty typical for Aurelus, but it counts as all factions. Oh boy, now it can be stopped by literally every stop card. What were they thinking with this? I don't know. Maybe it's there to make cards like Inferno stronger or something like that, or that it can now benefit from all of the types of cards that specifically target things, like including this in a Chaos deck or something. But it means that anything like Halt Unknown or Repel Destruction, all of those can automatically stop this thing, so I imagine that's going to be more trouble than it's worth. Stoneblade, plus 2 damage. If that Bakugan is holding a Fire Fist, energize this uncharged. So this is holding a regular a Green Fist, energize this uncharged. So this is basically more support for basic Green Fist. There's a lot of Green Fist support in this set, which is kind of interesting. The plus 2 damage for 1 energy is, of course, inefficient. Ventus doesn't really have much in the way of efficient damage or B-power boosting, because they're mostly a debuffer group. That's kind of their big failing point, is they don't really have like a big like upward strength. The ability to energize it uncharged at a 1 cost is pretty nice, especially if you're running a fist deck. Like I'm running a half fist deck. That could be useful, but this is the big one right here. Mega Punch. Mega Punch is attach a regular fist from the field for an open Bakugan. It's basically a 1-cost consort that will always activate Pegatrix's ability. That is awesome. The fact that it activates Domination for 1 energy rather than 3 means it is way, way, way more useful than Consort. I mean, you're limited to just Green Fist, which don't tend to offer the most in B power, but any of these Bakugan that benefit from having more than 1 core, they will get that effect. Anything that benefits from Dominate will be able to get that effect. The fact that this thing is basically a cheap way to activate Dominate, the way Greater Water Boost is a free way to activate Flow, means that this card's going to see a lot of use. Next we have Maximus Fangs Ultra. Okay, Maximus Fangs Ultra. So this is the Aurelus Fangs Ultra evolution. 10 cost for a 15-10, not that great, but if you have 20 or more cards in your discard pile, you may play this card for free. And that's for free, not 0, so anything that might give you a penalty will have no effect on that. So basically, this is a rebound character. So if you find yourself losing really, really badly, you can play this guy for free and hopefully turn things around. 1500 is pretty par for a lot of Bakugan at that point in the game. 1510, that's not bad. The Aurelus Dragonoid for 4 is a 1210, but you know, not bad for something that you can play in late game. And now we have a Ventus version of China Riot. When you open a Bakugan, you may energize a card from your hand uncharged. It's essentially Winton Styles Light is this version of China Riot. They finally put out a Ventus version because she uses Ventus Bakugan. It's Winton Styles Light. It's the Trox Ultra effect only for all of your Bakugan. I'm not sure how much application this will have, because by turn 3 you're probably already doing stuff like turn to energy, Trox Ultra already getting you charged up, and it takes it from the hand. Winton takes it from the top of the deck, so I don't see this getting play more than Winton already is, especially with a card we're going to see a bit later. Up next we have Dark Fortune. 3 cost, search your deck for an Evo card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. This is kind of, it's the exact thing I predicted that they were going to do for Heroes, only for Evo cards instead, because yeah, Darkus really needs more help with its aggression. So far, this is the only card that allows you to pull an Evo card from the deck. It'll be interesting to see if we get it in other sets, but it allows you to set up Titan Lilies. The ability to, you know, search your deck for anything is always going to be powerful. You can bet any, like, straight Darkest deck is going to be making use of Dark Fortune. Especially with this one, Titan Tertonium Ultra, a 1015 for 4 energy, and you have to discard your hand to play it. Oh no, whatever will I do with all these Shadow Coils and Darkest China Riots that I'm going to be discarding from my hand? Oh no, this also activates Fury. So I bet something we're going to see in the near future is a Fury deck using Pyrus Serpentis Ultra, Pyrus Howlcore Ultra, and Darkest Tertonium Ultra, because they get some really heavy hitters out while also activating Fury. Tertonium Ultra, you discard your hand, so no matter when you play it, your hand hits the discard pile, anything that benefits from being discarded will activate, and Fury will activate. So, man, that Howlcore Ultra is going to be really scary, especially if a team attack happens, because that is instant death. This deck is probably going to see use. Up next we have the card Anger, plus 300 B power for 2, which is, you know, a bit below par, but Fury, if you have no cards in hand, draw 2 cards. So basically this is something you play, not bad in any deck, actually. Like, it's the last card in your hand, only 2 energy, you drop it, you draw 2 to maybe see if you get some more options. It's not bad, it's like Pot of Greed, pretty much. Blinding Eek, negate an action card that costs 3 or less for 2. So it's basically a more targeted version of Triple Sting Slash, only it only affects cards that cost 3 or less. And a lot of action cards that people are using cost 3 or less. So, and that includes Triple Sting Slash. This thing is basically this game's Gainsay, or there was a card out there called SWAT, where it costs less to target something inexpensive. It's definitely playable on turn 3 and giving you a little more wiggle room. This thing is going to see a lot of use, mainly because of how it counters a lot of the cards that people are using. It counters Wave Slash, it counters Triple Sting Slash, it counters Stone Skin, it counters a lot of the cards that everybody's using, so that's going to be important. And now we have Chaos Strata, which for cost 3 makes your heroes cost 2 less to play. It's hero support, but it's not enough because we need the ability to pull the heroes from the deck in order to play them at all. It's going to be interesting to see if the hero strategy manages to pull itself together, because right now it's really bad. Its capstone is unplayable, and it has no real support in getting those heroes into play, like, from the deck. I mean, you have to still draw the heroes in order to play them for the lower cost. And here we have Titan Trox Ultra. Victory, you may energize any number of cards from your hand uncharged. It's a 1010, but if you have Winton in play, it becomes a 2020. So this thing is also pretty scary for a 5 cost. It's the Winton version of Titan Dragonoid. 2000 power is definitely good enough to stop most threats. They would have to play some really powerful cards to get around that. And it's actually making me consider figuring out how to get Winton to actually squeeze into my Awesome Ones deck, because this is an easy replacement for Diamond Trox Ultra if I can get Winton into play and make it make my opponent now staring down a 1500, a 2000, and a 3000. That's going to be pretty scary if it can work. And then we have Diamond Cubbo. It's so far the only Cubbo card we have so far. Diamond Cubbo costs 2, 700. I assume that's going to be a 7 damage. That's not bad for 2 cost, I guess. But he's dabbing, and that, you know, dabbing. Oh, that Cubbo. Let's see. Moving on, Titan Crocelios Ultra. It is an awesome rare. You may roll this once per turn if you roll with it. And you can, Victor, choose one. You can energize the top 2 cards of your deck uncharged or draw 2 cards. So, Titan Crocelios Ultra, even though it's kind of expensive, especially for the damage you get for an Aurelus, 1105 is pretty pathetic for a cost 5. Those really good support effects might make it usable. A few more. We have Hyper Serpentis. This is a common one. It's a 2 cost, 505, not that impressive. If it lands on a shield, it gets +3. If it lands on a fist, it gets +300. So that's not bad, especially if you landed on a shield and combine it with Mega Punch to get both benefits at once. The fact that it's a common, though, means that people are going to have an easy time getting their hands on it. Spontaneous Combustion, 4 cost, make a Pyrus attack for 4 damage. So 4 cost is kind of high, but this is basically the game's equivalent of burn damage. Is you deal the burn damage, but it counts as an attribute, so it can be targeted by stop cards. That's all this is. 4 is maybe a bit high for a flip card. I mean, if they had a 0 that dealt 1 damage, that would be interesting. Hyper Pegatrix. You may reroll this once each turn if you miss, an 810 for 4. A bit on the low power side, but again, it's common. Hyper Mantinoid, 703 for 2, also common. No beneficial effects. Hyper Gortheon, 406, +200 and +4 if it lands on a fist. You may reroll once per turn. For 2, that's considering that you get the benefit and you can reroll it once. That's actually not bad. So that's a look at Bakugan Resurgence. Its official date is it's out a month and a half early. I'm telling you right now, Spin Master, if you're trying to get hobby stores to buy your card game, this is not a good look to have the big box stores getting it a month and a half early. So there are a few things that need to be worked on here, but it's going to be interesting to see once I can actually get my hands on some of these cards. Like I said, there's a lot of rerolls in this set. There's a lot of things that look like they're gonna that look like they're gonna run the risk of breaking the game, and that might be a problem. We'll have to see how it has an effect, but a lot of it is focused on rerolls. So the set does seem to have a theme, and that seems to be rerolling. There are also cards that you must re-roll your Bakugan, but if you manage to get it to stand a second time, still get some additional benefit on the card. I'm wondering how re-rolls happen. If you re-roll, if you miss a roll. It specifically says if you miss a roll. So there's some things there. So not a lot of them are about you know, re-rolling. It's only if you a lot of them have the effect only if you miss, but there are cards that allow you to roll a second time. Like you have to reclose and roll it again. That gets you a double benefit from Shargo. So, gonna be interesting to see what happens. Lots of rerolls, lots of fun. That's a preview of Bakugan Resurgence, and until next time, this is Kodak signing off.